I just put out a video about the new Sony Z200 that had a ton of engagement. I really like how light it is, how small, how versatile. It just doesn't compare to an FX6 though. The sensor size is way off, and the fixed lens is crazy. 24 to I think 480, and you have clear image zoom on top of that. But it starts at a 2.8 and then wraps up to, I don't know, f4, f5, somewhere around there. And that is where these excel. But it's also a double-edged sword. Getting full frame means bigger, larger, wider optics, heavier optics. And I just wish that there was something in between. If there was a micro four thirds camcorder with an integrated lens that didn't have to be 480 millimeters, it could be 25 to 250, 20 to 200, somewhere around there, and have a larger sensor like micro four thirds, super 16 size, and anywhere in that range, I think it would be a happy medium. The cameras are just so light, and the FX6 by itself is extremely light as well, and that's one of the reasons I love it. But I add a bunch of stuff onto it that makes it heavier and heavier. Mainly these V-mounts, like they're great and they do the job perfectly, but they're heavy, and I'm waiting for some type of technology advancement in lithium ion because they're bricks. Which is fine. They work great. I'm basically just looking for things to complain about. And one of the things that I complain about is the weight once you start adding this up. So if I remove this beautiful small HD 502 bright, 1000 nits, very thin, much lighter and thinner than the new small HD 5 inches, the Cine, the Indy, whatever they are. If I remove this, and this beautiful monitor mount solution that I've been racking my brain over, and the SDI cables and the power cable, and go back to the OEM LCD, the nice little sun hood, and a very reflective screen and a low nit count. You see, as soon as I switch, I'm already complaining. This would reduce a lot of weight, and I am not doing, the amount of times I'm doing on the shoulder work is very small compared to when it's on sticks. So the weight isn't even that much of an issue, but I do want to keep experimenting, testing, and seeing what things work. When I got the camera, of course, it came with this, and it was really tough because it is so reflective, and it's not a high resolution screen. I don't know. It just seems like they could have done better, or I'm surprised that the technology for these hasn't made any large leaps forward. What I do love about this is you are getting signal and power through one cable, and that is really nice, rather than finding your own third-party solutions. What doesn't make sense to me is why the video out port on almost every camera is towards the rear. It would make much more sense if this HDMI out, this SDI out, had an option for one up here. There are a few camera manufacturers that do it. I believe Red has an out port here, and I think the Venice does, might be a proprietary cable, but it would make a lot of sense if you had an SDI out right here, because most monitors are forward, especially when you're in the type of work that I do, where you want it operator side and forward. So I'm just throwing ideas out. Have no clue if any camera companies ever come across these videos, but if they do, they're going to hear a load of things that I think could be improved upon. So I'm going to put the handle back here and just back on like normal and see if this works, maybe for my next job, which is I think a week or two away. So I got time to switch it back, do whatever I want. But that new Sony Z200, I feel like it's getting close. It's getting close to where the modern specs and features in here are going into a camcorder. The other thing that could kind of bridge that gap is the Mark II version of the Sony 28-135. I talk about that a lot, but that is just, it's such a fantastic lens, what it can do for the price point and the native connectivity with the Sony cameras. It really is awesome. It's just, it's chunky. And that's what happens when you're messing with a full frame sensor. So I do think there is market opportunity for a Super 35 kind of FX camcorder style. I think a lot of people could do it. I know full frame is really what's gonna sell marketing wise. No one thinks that smaller sensors can provide exactly what you would need, but Super 35 has been the standard for so long, and it really is in a lot of big productions, like large crew productions. Super 35 is still amazing. Arri just came out with a $100,000 Super 35 camera. So full frame right now, I think is offering benefits that come with a lot of consequences. And if there was an option for Super 35 or Micro Four Thirds with all of this beautiful benefits, I would take a crack at it, and I know a lot of other people who would too, because looking at the comments of that Sony Z200 video I posted, there was definitely a ton of working people who said it's close, it's just not quite there. And now it's midnight and I've been tinkering for over an hour. So my idea here is I'm gonna replace this with this item, and that way I can have my rod holder here and rod holder here, and take this thread 15 mil through there, put it to the end. That way I have this adjustment, I have this adjustment, and then I can swing this arm up, down, whatever. But I really wish Sony would just implement a pro version of this. I know a lot of camera operators who have said they would be in the same boat. They've had the same conversations, but if we could make something that was just a little bigger, not much. It doesn't have to be crazy. Pop this up. Well, and yeah, some better implementation on this thing, but there we go. Something that was a little bigger, a little brighter, and not as reflective. Call it the pro version, make it $500, make it $1,000, whatever, but have it be powered by this proprietary Sony cable. And I know a lot of people that would be interested in it, because this is great, but for a lot of people, it's not a real option for them for monitoring, because one, you can't use it as an EVF. There's no loop like there is on the FX9. And then, so if you're just going to have it exposed and as a monitor, it's just not the best tool. It's very small, it's dark, it's not sharp. If Sony can please release a pro version of that, I think it would be a logical accessory for these types of cinema cameras, because it's not that big. And yeah, that's the end of the rant. They should make a pro version of this. Until then, I will keep tinkering. I will keep complaining. I'm going to keep testing, figuring things out. Who knows how long the OEM LCD will last on here, but I'll report back what I find.